Hello, my friends. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. I'm Kathy Rhodes. Thank you for always being so faithful and joining me. Whether you're joining on the YouTube channel, Unity Consulting LLC, that's the channel for the YouTube videos, or if you're joining on the audio version of the podcast, thank you. Thank you. Today we're gonna think differently about a new topic, but I have to tell you, next week's topic, today's topic is very fun, very exciting, but next week's topic is coming from one of my faithful listeners, Betty. Betty emailed me and said, hey, I just listened to 7 podcast episodes. She was like binge listening, but I got a question. I love those messages. Betty, thank you. I'm working on an answer and it's going to be in next week's video. So enjoy today's episode, but stay tuned for next week as well. As far as today, we're going to think differently today about our senses. You know, hear, smell, taste, feel, see. Did I get him? Those senses. Okay, the other day I walked outside. I walk outside every day. But the other day when I came out my driveway, something happened that took me right back to 6th grade. 6th grade art class. Now, I am not an artist. Art was never my thing. However, Mr. Miller took us on a little field trip one day for art class. We were in the drawing curriculum, whatever, chapter of the art book. We were drawing different things, and he took us on a 2-block field trip. We walked 2 blocks to Main Street, and he positioned us throughout, a block radius in front of a structure, and we were supposed to draw it. I remember the house that I was supposed to draw. To be honest, I don't even know if it's still there today. I mean, the school isn't there, but I don't even know. But I remembered this assignment because art is not my thing. And when I see something, I see a lot of complexity. But I don't know if I was sitting next to somebody or Mr. Miller was the one to enlighten me, but he taught me how to see different objects in the basic shapes. Like a house is a square and a rectangle and a triangle. A tree, an evergreen tree, is just a bunch of lines put into different directions. I just remember that moment for some reason, but that's really not my point here, okay? It was just a piece of it. It was a piece of this memory. While I was sitting and drawing this building, we were literally sitting on the curb of Main Street, and there was more than just the assignment. I remember hearing the birds. Now, when I was younger, I wasn't exactly a naturistic type of person. I actually was a kid who'd rather play inside than play outside. I still don't like to get dirty, but didn't have much appreciation for nature, okay? But this day, just last week, when I walked out my front door, I must have heard the same birds that I heard in 6th grade. Because it was like this out-of-body experience that I couldn't even help myself. My mind went back to that. Have you ever had this? Have you ever had this when you hear something or smell something or taste something or feel something, it takes you right back to that moment in time? This is a memory that I don't know the last time I thought about this. Okay, I don't know the last time that I even really cared about that memory. But it just flashed up. And then I got thinking, this type of experience would never happen. It could never happen in today's world. And here's why. It's not because field trips aren't really allowed anymore in schools without 500 layers of permission. It's also not because Main Street is too busy to sit on the curb to do an art assignment. I mean, some of that seems kind of crazy, but that's not the reason. The reason why this could never happen today is because every child would have earbuds in their ears while working on this project. If the teacher could take them 2 blocks down the street, if they could sit on the road and draw a structure, they would leave the school with earbuds in their ears. Right? Do you agree? I mean, I see it all the time. The other day I was in Walmart and I had a question, so I walked up to a worker and said, "Excuse me," and she didn't even hear me because she had earbuds, because she was listening to a whole different world, right? She was in a whole different world. We have so much stimulus that we pump into ourselves that we're missing out on what's right in front of us. When was the last time that you went outside with nothing in your ears? Now, I'm not talking about earmuffs or a hat to keep your ears, from freezing. I'm just talking about no earbuds. Or even when you went driving with no radio on. When was the last time that you just listened to what was going on around you? Now, if you are pumping something into your ears, like music, music does the same thing to us. My husband is notorious. When a song comes on the radio, he'll say, "Oh, the last time I heard this song, I was mowing the lawn of our Iowa house and I was out by that third tree. I was going around the edge of the tree." Really? Do you remember that kind of detail over the song? He does. He does. He can tell me what song was playing the day that we met. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, I don't connect to music that way. Or maybe I just don't listen to the same songs over and over. Who knows? I don't connect to that. So if you are pumping something into your ears, you can still have that same sense connection, right? But what about our natural world? A few months ago, when we were out taking a walk in our neighborhood, we heard a tree crash to the ground. It was off in the woods. We didn't see the tree, but I know it was a tree. It was pretty dynamic of a noise. And, it was a perfectly still day, no wind at all, and the tree is falling. So if you've ever asked, when trees fall in the woods, do they make noise? Yeah, they make a pretty impactful noise. But that was kind of cool. I've never heard that before, right? Also, I've heard birds, a variety of birds. The morning when I walked out and thought of this sixth grade art class, I think they were a bunch of blue jays across the street from our house. Fighting, playing, I don't really know, but there were a lot of blue jays with a lot of ruckus happening. I know we also have the cardinals, we also have robins, we also have chickadees, just a wide variety of birds. Woodpeckers. Wow, woodpeckers, I hear them all the time. And this one was really cool because you only hear it on some late afternoons, evenings. Owls. Have you ever heard the owls? Wow, what a powerful sound. I mean, I've heard it on YouTube videos and I've heard them, but when they're just in your backyard, you're in their world. That's really cool. The wind, there's another one. The wind, whether it's coming from the north or east or west or south, it's just different. And maybe it's not nature. Maybe it's not nature that you're hearing. Maybe it's airplanes. Maybe it's a train far off or a train close up. Or the other day I said to my husband, "Are those snowmobiles that we hear?" Which was very confusing to me because right now in the Midwest, at the end of February, we have no snow. So that was odd. And he says, "Oh no, you can hear it shifting. That says it's a motorcycle." Oh, well, that's even more odd to have out on the roads here in the end of February in central Wisconsin. But things like that have you really stopped to listen? Or let's go into a different one of our senses. When was the last time you took a walk without looking at your phone? Or without looking at your feet? That's a common habit, is to walk and look down. Just pull your chin up, put your shoulders back, look ahead of you. One time I was inside, I was in a building, I was actually in a fitness center, and I was looking at my phone, and I was walking to the radio area because I was going to change the channel, and I literally ran into a wall. It was like a half wall, so I had to bend down to get to the radio. Yeah, walked right into it, hit my forehead on the wall. Why? Because I was looking at my phone. Another time I remember I was out for a run on a trail, and when I get tired, that's when I do start looking at the ground because I don't want to see how far I have to go. So I'm looking down, I'm looking at my feet, and I just happen to look up as a deer is crossing the path in front of me. I would have missed that. I would have missed it. One time I was running on the same path, just a different location, and there was a deer standing in the trees 2 feet off the path. So he was 2 feet from me, and I did not see him until we were like shoulder to shoulder. It kind of freaked me out. I remember gasping and I moved my hand toward my heart because I was so shaken a little bit. And then I wondered, wow, is my sudden movement going to freak the deer? I don't need him running into me, running into my path. He was just watching me. He saw me because he was looking. I didn't see him until we were right next to each other. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking in the right direction. I wasn't looking up. You know, there's a massive amount of power in our senses. They can take us places that we forgot about. Whether it's the sound of the birds that takes you back to 6th grade art class, or here's another one. I always get this same recollection in the fall. When we have that first crisp fall morning, it takes me right back to 1st grade at Riverview School. When I walk outside and I close my eyes and I take a deep breath and breathe in that crisp air, for a moment I forget that I'm not in 1st grade because wow, it can take me right back there. Or here's another sense, your smell. When I smell celery cooking, it takes me back to my grandma's kitchen. I remember the first time I did that on my own. Actually, a friend was helping me make homemade chicken noodle soup. And she put in some onions, some carrots, some celery. We were boiling the water. And I remember standing in my kitchen going, whoa. For a minute there, I thought I was in my grandma's kitchen. I never realized the smell in her kitchen was celery cooking until I recreated it. There's so much power, and hopefully whatever or wherever your senses take you, hopefully it's a good place. Hopefully they're good memories. You know, stay away from the stuff that doesn't take you to a good place. I know sometimes music can take us to a place, you know, back in your high school days or whatever. Stay away from that. But allow yourself to enjoy when your senses take you back to something that's a good memory and even something to learn from. So my friends, I hope that we've challenged you today to just think differently about the power of our senses and not to move too quickly through life and cruise past those moments. Pause and observe what's happening. Allow yourself to have a memory and allow yourself to just learn whatever lesson it is. For me today, my lesson is to take the earbuds out of my ears. I do. I listen to things at times. When I'm working out, I listen to my, my podcasts or whatever. But have a moment in time when you're not engaged that way. Take the earbuds out, go outside, sit on the deck, go for a walk. Enjoy what we have around us. See what your senses find. It is amazing what you hear when you listen. Enjoy this adventure and this journey. My friends, be great today.